We all have our own story about our first time. It's one of those super personal life moments. But what happens when you zoom way out, when you look at the data from literally millions of people all around the world? Well, that's exactly what we're about to dive into, using one massive global survey.
I mean, think about it. This one moment is shaped by so many different things. Your culture, your personality, just life, right? But if we look at the big picture, do any clear patterns start to show up across the globe? Let's find out.
All right, so here's how we're going to do this. We're going to do a global countdown, starting with the countries that have the highest average age for losing virginity, and we're going to work our way all the way down to the lowest. And trust me, some of these numbers and the patterns they show, they might just surprise you.
Now, all of our data for this comes from one place, the Durex Global Survey. And what's great about this is it gives us a really fascinating snapshot. It lets us compare dozens of countries on a totally level playing field.
Okay, let's kick off our countdown at the very top of the scale. We're starting with the countries where the average age is in the early 20s. And what's really interesting is that this part of our journey begins squarely in Asia.
So kicking things off at the very top of our list is Malaysia, with an average reported age of 23. This is actually the highest average in the entire survey, so it's setting the benchmark for the rest of the world.
Right on Malaysia's heels is India at 22.9. I mean, it's pretty incredible how close these two are, right? We're talking a separation of just a tiny fraction of a year at the absolute peak of the scale.
And completing this top 3 cluster is Singapore, coming in at 22.8. So you've got these first 3 countries all bunched up together, which, already suggests a pretty strong regional trend right from the get-go.
Now, to round out the countries with an average age in the 20s, we've got China at 22.1, and then there's a bit of a drop to Thailand and Hong Kong. It's a really clear pattern, and some researchers think it might be connected to cultural factors, like maybe a strong focus on education or getting your career started before marriage.
Okay, so now we're dropping out of the 20s and into the late teens. And this is where the picture starts to get a lot more diverse. The map really opens up here, and we start to see a real global mix of countries.
Just look at this. As soon as we hit the 19s, we're jumping all over the globe. You've got Vietnam and Nigeria tied at 19.7, then it's over to Japan, then our first European country with Spain, then back to Asia with Indonesia, and then over to Poland. What a fascinating mix, right?
And believe it or not, the 18s are even more crowded. We've got Italy at 18.9, and then, get this, a 3-way tie between Russia, Mexico, and South Africa at 18.7. Then you've got France and Switzerland. It's just amazing how many different countries from all over the world fall into this really narrow age bracket.
All right, let's take a quick look at 3 countries that often get compared: the UK, Canada, and the US. And what do you know? They're all clustered super tightly together. The UK is at 18.3, Canada at 18.1, and the US right on the dot at 18.0. Incredibly close. We're talking just a few months apart.
Okay, hold on, because things are about to speed up a bit. We're now dropping below 18 and into the 17-year-old range, and you're going to see the numbers start to fall a little faster from here on out.
And the first country to take us below that 18-year-old mark is Australia, coming in with an average age of 17.9.
Next up on our countdown, we have Germany, where the average drops down to 17.6.
And now, we're jumping over to South America, where we find Brazil with a reported average of 17.4.
And here's something interesting, another statistical tie. This time, it's a 3-way European link between Ireland, Croatia, and Austria. All 3 report the exact same average age of 17.3.
So we are now reaching the end of our countdown. We're heading towards the lowest ages in the entire survey, and as we get there, a very, very clear and frankly undeniable regional pattern is about to emerge.
Yeah, the bottom of this list isn't just some random mix of countries from all over the place. Nope, it is completely and fascinatingly dominated by one specific part of the world.
I mean, this is a truly striking finding. Think about that for a second. Out of all the countries surveyed across the entire globe, the 5 with the lowest average ages all come from the exact same region.
And here they are, the Nordic countries. You've got Finland and Norway tied at 16.5. Sweden is just behind at 16.2, and Denmark at 16.1. And then, at the very bottom of our entire list, is Iceland, with an average age of 15.6. Now, this distinct cluster is often linked to the region's long history of providing comprehensive and early sex education.
So after that whirlwind tour around the globe, from the highest averages all the way to the lowest, let's just take one final step back and look at the whole picture.
Just look at the incredible range we've covered. From the highest average in the survey, Malaysia at 23 years old, all the way down to the lowest, Iceland at 15.6. That is a massive gap of almost 7.5 years. So this data, it clearly shows us the what, right? We see the distinct regional clusters, the vast global range, but it leaves us with the much more interesting question of why. What is it about the culture, the society, the education in these different places that might explain these numbers? Now that is a question worth pondering.